This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Hi, Coach. First of all, how is this week off kind of helping you guys, and how have you guys spent it?
I think it helps heal some bumps and bruises and gets us ready to go back to school and all those things. I hope it doesn't keep us from playing as well as we were. That's always the great worry, the rested versus rusted argument that we have every year. So it was needed. It comes a little early in the year, you know, coming off of Christmas. We're on a break and you play 4 games and you get a break. But, you know, I know scheduling's tough, but we had a little extra time off. We spent one day working on nothing but individual skills. We simulated a game day yesterday without much contact, but still got our heart rate up and got them good and tired. Don't anybody tweet this out, but they're going to get surprised this afternoon with another extra day of not practice, but a little fun afternoon. So wait till after 1 to put that out. But we're going to surprise them with a fun little day today. Then we'll get back to work with Vandy tomorrow. But as a coach, especially coming off as well as we've played, not that we've won, just how we've been playing, how efficient we've been, how we've shared the ball, how we've made shots. I hope we can keep that going through the – and then it's weird. Not only is it weird to have the bye that early, it's also weird to have a bye and then a Monday game. So we'll have 3 games next week, so hopefully we'll be good and rested.
And then just overall, what you've seen from Vanderbilt and what you're expecting and how you prepared for them.
They're different than most people in our league in the way that they defend. They're going to throw multiple presses at you. They're going to try to actively turn you over. We've got teams that try to turn you over and teams that defend well, but they do it in a little bit different fashion. They mix their man and zone up. They try to confuse you some, which last year they did. They confused us a lot. Hopefully we can learn from what happened last year. And you know, we didn't really have a book on Shea. You know, we knew who she had coached with, but you never know what a head coach is going to do. So she was very unpredictable and still can be. But there's a little bit more data out there for us to go off of and be prepared. But, you know, they've got 2 big-time scorers that have led them throughout the year. And, you know, anytime you have a local girl coming home too, and Jada Brown, they always tend to play a little bit better when they're coming back closer to home. So it's a team that record, you know, does not judge what we think of them. We've got the utmost respect, especially since they beat us last year.
Jordan?
Coach, you touched on it a little bit, but what's sort of the motto that you're talking to your team about when you're going to a game with such heavy favorites?
First of all, I won't let them know that we're heavy favorites, so don't tell them either, Jordan. And I don't know that they feel that. I think there's been games we've gone in as a underdog and won, so I'm not sure kids pay as much attention to it. But this is kind of the end of that little 4-game set that we talked about, and we kind of called it the "till we meet again" deal with LSU because we played LSU, then we had 4 games in between, and we were real interested in what we did in those 4 games. So I hope that the motto will be and the focus will be, you know, finishing that little stretch the best that we can. We've got 3 wins in the first 3 games. Just continue to play well, improve on the things that LSU lessons taught us and carry it over and finish that little 4-game set on an up note before we turn our focus back to LSU. But finishing something, you know, that's what I told them. Let's finish something. You've got to start. You've won the 3 games. On this little deal. Now let's finish it with another good performance against Vanderbilt.
And the 3-point line is sort of the great equalizer. When you're playing a team that does it as well as Vanderbilt does, sort of what do you do to prepare for that?
Knock on wood, we've been pretty good at defending that line. I know we're one of the top teams in the SEC in the country when it comes to that. Just make sure our focus is there, good defensive schemes and good attention to detail, player recognition, knowing that who's got the ball and where they've got it. That's kind of been our formula so far, but this one will be a little different. They do rely on that a little bit more, and they can spread it around a little bit more. So just getting our kids maybe a step further out than what we've been used to guarding, and then sticking with what's been working defensively with the way they do it. They do it with a variety of ball screens and off-ball screens and penetration. So we'll focus on those 3 areas, making sure we don't give up too much dribble penetration, make sure we know which shooters don't even need shots, much less makes, don't even need attempts. And then, give our kids if you're in a decision-making area, do I guard this kid or this kid? If it's 2-on-1, make sure our kids have a good personnel scout so that they can make the best decisions when it comes game time.
Anyone else on here have questions before I ask Ethan's?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Mike, there were times early in the year you were winning games, but maybe there was 1 or 2 players that felt like they were a little off offensively, or you were starting to get a little closer. Did you feel like it was coming through practices and games to where these last few games were not a surprise, or were there times you were wondering, when are we all going to kind of click at the same time?
No, I was wondering it. That's a good question and observation. We weren't taking good shots for the middle part of our non-conference. We were taking really hard shots. And I think when you're taking hard shots, that's usually an indicator of I'm unsure if I'm going to get the ball back, or I'm unsure if this is the best shot at this time, not understanding all that. I think once we hit about that 12-game mark, there was a lot of video, data, and evidence that we could show them that said if we will take shots that are open, we will make more. And the more we make, the better we feel, the better we feel, the better we defend. The whole thing goes together. And I think we had some of those moments. I think it went through that Creighton out to San Diego when we lost 2 games out there that we, we're in the fourth quarter, really late into the fourth quarter. That's when it kind of stings a little bit that, hey, if I'd have taken that shot in the first half that was better and made it, we would have won. I think kids see that, and when it sinks in and it hurts a little bit, I think they tend to now go out on the floor and execute a little bit better. We started taking better shots. That's the simple fact. It was nothing we did in drills. It was just we started taking better shots in game and setting each other up better. Kylie would have to give you the numbers, but our assist numbers in the last 8 or 9 games have been off the charts. So that means we're making good basketball plays, the right basketball plays, better than we were early in the year.
Awesome. All right. So you mentioned Jada Brown, local kid from Bentonville, and how she's already made an impact on that team. What will it be like to compete against her?
We got some kids that played with her, from Bentonville. So I'm sure that it's always one or the other. The kids are usually really excited or really nervous. I don't know Jada well enough to know, but she has obviously found the right fit for her, a good home. She started, I think, all but maybe 1 game, and plays a bunch of minutes for them. So, we had her at camp. I know the kid is very focused. I'm sure she'll come in focused on helping her team, and probably won't be any different, but it always is a little different. But we're not one of those teams that has an animosity, or I'm not a coach that goes in and builds up a story to our team to try to motivate them to do something specific against a specific player. So we won't get into that, but she has played well. I know, our hopes as people in Arkansas is that all kids go and represent Arkansas wherever they play. So, but we'll do our best to guard her. I don't want her to have a great homecoming, not because she's from here, just because I don't want any of their players to have a good game.
And then Harbison is a top 3 scorer and distributor in the league, and seems to have had a good transition into the SEC after spending her undergrad at St. Louis. Thoughts on her game?
Dynamic. She's, obviously got a green light in their system. They play through her in every action, in transition, in the half court, on inbounds plays. She's got a green light from the time she touches it. There's been a lot of possessions where she's the only player that has touched it. We've broken those clips down and shown our kids that she's not going to rely on a lot of ball movement. She can go create her own shot at any point in time. So she'll draw our perimeter defense, but then the second you start focusing too hard on her, she can, as you said, distribute it to the others. So she's not one-dimensional, but she certainly does have the green light, and she'll be the top of the scout for sure.
And then lastly, you mentioned how good the holiday break can be for a basketball team without classes. Was it nice to have the bye week happen without any classes still?
Yeah, it's okay. It obviously would have come better if they got a break when they were in class, but hopefully we navigated it properly. And we can be really focused going into that first week of school. They won't have any. They shouldn't be tired. They shouldn't be overworked. So I would have preferred it to follow, maybe a couple of weeks in class, but we don't get to pick those. We'll see. I do like where our kids are at, but it's always a concern as a coach. We go through it at some point in time, or we make it up in our own heads. The whole "are we rested" or "are we rested" argument. So hopefully we've navigated it properly, and you won't see any negative effects, only positive effects from having a no class and a few extra days off.
Seems like a football team that would get a bye week after their second game or something. It just seems weird.
It does. Yeah. And I know, listen, I've scheduled I know it's hard to put together a schedule. So I'm not, and it rotates, every year. Kind of one year you have 5 or 6 games and then you play, and a lot of times it falls too on whether you're injured or not injured. A lot of kids, if you're injured, it falls at the right time and gets the kid back. But, I think it's one of those things every team has to navigate a different way. I hope we've had a good week. We'll find out come Monday. It's weird too. We watched all the games last night, and then we'll watch another set of games on Sunday before we ever play again in the SEC. It's just kind of, it felt weird not to play last night. It's going to feel really weird not to play on Sunday. I'm glad we're at home at least. I'm glad if there is a positive that comes out of it, the fact that we're not having to travel, and they were off as well. So Vanderbilt's going to be in the same boat. That's the other good thing. I think we're not facing a team that played on Thursday. So we're going to be on equal footing when it comes to that.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.